Of Halytsynivska amalgamated community in Mykolaiv region. Based on your experience, how we can show properly this reform? You've said that there are no proper results, but we see these results. But what results we would want to see? In some communities there are good results, in some communities there are no good results, but reform is ongoing, it is active, it is right, and I believe that 5 years is not enough. Maybe the first period should pass in order that people understand what it is. I'm not saying that there are no results. We hear from people that there are no results. Some people say so, but there are results. So some people say that people got united, but nothing changed. You have been working for 2 years. You were created in 2016. 4 councils got united. Yeah, 4 councils got united. What have changed? The attitude of people to their village, to their community. People understand that it now depends on them. This is all that is theirs. And now we are going to conclusion that people, deputies, only in 2 years we started to think how to do better for the community, like in the family. Not like we want to do something for deputies of people, but we want to do something for all, for community. This is not about one village, for example, because first everyone thought about their villages and they just tried to get something. Everyone wanted to get something quickly. And now people understand why it is done and for whom, and people are waiting if they need to. And we first help those who need it the most, and now people and deputies, they all understand it. So you entered into this reform with many problems because a lot of problems accumulated. And what reforms are going to solve due to this reform? Due to this reform, let's start from the beginning. First, we got united in 2016. And the problems we had at the time, they started to be solved by our own forces. And we have proceeds from the state, and they went to our communities, and we can independently, without above structures, to deal with the education, healthcare, emergency situations, lighting, those works that should have been done. So the budget is about 130 million. This is a commercial secret, but okay. So we had the budget 10 million for 4 villages before reform. In each settlement, they had their own budget. And in 2 years, we've reached 129 million. It didn't go from the sky. It was done due to hard work of our workers in the council, deputies. These were also taxes. We collect taxes and they go to the community, and people understand if they pay taxes, this goes for the development of the community. It is not provided to someone they do not know. Also, we have reverse subsidy, right? Right. And now, what were you able to do? What is done first? I do not know why, but somehow it happened so that the majority of our budget, 69 million out of 130, we provide this money for education, and everyone understands this. And I believe before decentralization, even then, people understood that education, healthcare, culture, all these things were financed the least. So we decided to change something in the community, in the village, and for this, we should educate young people, children in kindergarten, schools, high school students, to tell people how to behave, what attitude should be to what. So now everyone knows about their rights, but they do not know about their responsibilities. Not many people understand this. And now we pay a lot of attention in the community to young people, to youth, to kindergartens and schools. I know that 1/3 of population are young people. How do you motivate young people to stay in your community? There are many different factors. Our community is near Mykolaiv city. In our territory, there are many big enterprises. And we have some calm places. And people go to work and then they go back to their quiet villages. I see that you have language room and robotechnic room and salt room and also facilities for electronic shooting, and also I have specialists in education in our Department of Education and young specialists. Together with them, we opened media centers. I have been working as a teacher, and I saw that young people from villages, they didn't have such opportunities like children in the cities. And now I'm really pleased that our children, they speak freely, no matter with whom they interview. They meet people, adults, and they ask for some interviews to establish communication. I see that you have reached a lot in education. So you were able to do this after unification, when you got the budget and opportunity and funds for development, as I understand. I speak about it in detail because I would like everyone to understand what and how you do it and how the amalgamated community differs from the councils, individual councils. The main how it differs is that the community, amalgamated community, thinks about everyone. And one more village council wants to join us. They are not poor. According to prospect plan, they should have been joined with other community, but they want to join us because we face a situation in our community that everyone thinks about everyone, not only about themselves. Before we were separated, Halytsynivska, Limanska, Perelusk, and its village thought only about themselves. Now they think about each other. It is interesting, right? Now we are speaking about schools, education, and recently, second season of the program Gramada per Million was completed, and one of the teachers from your community participated. And for 1 week, she worked in Finnish school, and the teacher from Finland held lessons in your school. And how did this project change the environment in your community? We were not against, never against this. I always say participate, learn, study, get experience, I say to my people. And Yulia Shepatyuk from Liberitska school, English teacher, she won in this project, the 1+1, and she participated there. And it was beneficial to our people, to our children, because the teachers, they got really interested, and principals of the schools, they also got experience from Finland, and those who came from Finland got our experience. And what is the attitude of we have our own English classrooms. We have good designs of these classrooms. Children feel more freely. So I'm trying to get this information word after word from you. And I know that not only children study, and I know that you have a center of education for adults in your community. who is this initiative? And young people decided to do this. We have youth center, youth organization, and we have Southern Initiative Youth Organization. And we invest everything in children and adults. They remain at the sidelines, and this is our tradition to care more about children. But there were some houses for reading. Our ancestors, they came to such houses and they read, they did some crafts, and now people lack communication among themselves. And people came up with the proposal to open such centers for adults, so that they can knit, they can draw, paint, maybe they can get some new skills for themselves. And we buy equipment thanks to DOBRE program. Those who support us, we won't be able to buy it and help, and especially due to Natalia Safronova, she helps us in this, and this also is the work of our young people. You've mentioned DOBRE program. I would like to state that this is one of the benefits of the amalgamated communities, that they can get donor organizations to help them. It doesn't mean that donor will come and bring a bag of money. How do you work with donor? What is the format of work? Do they provide training for your specialists? The main format is that they show the road. And they try to help us. And the main is the strategy plan, what we built. And according to all this, due to our DOBRE partners and you lead, we work in this format. This is football fields, media centers, centers of education for adults, kindergartens, workouts, all this we have in our community. What are the new objects of infrastructure in your community that appeared during these 2 years? Many. This is media centers, new Ukrainian schools, football pitches, as I've said, also lingaphone room, and all. And what about all clubs? What about library? Yes, we have a library in each settlement. They have great design. There are new books. We have beautiful libraries. So this is about education. Now, we understand that the community should think ahead. Now we have a little support from the state, some support from donor organizations, but community should think ahead. How to earn money, how to implement projects that will create added value and that will bring taxes for development, and what projects do you implement to get profit in the future? First, these are land issues. The state provides to our community all lands that were in the state and communal property. Now these lands will be transferred. Both agricultural and non-agricultural lands will be transferred to our community. This will be our main proceed in our community. We understand that there will be some rates for land that will be revised, and I hope that we will have in our territory a lot of people who were trained, and they will become entrepreneurs, and this also will bring money to our budget. And what is about cooperation with business in your community? Do you have a dialogue? Do you have communication? Or whether business and community are separate? Now we have good cooperation. We have understanding with business, mutual understanding. And can community establish taxes and fees? Do you regulate it yourself? Yes, deputies and community, they regulate taxes and fees. And we said that big budget, a lot has been done. It provides about 25 million to the state. But there are also amalgamated communities that maybe they didn't adhere properly to the methodology, maybe something happened and they were not able to do it properly, and they are not so successful as your community. And we get united to be more powerful, but we do not see it in some communities. And more than 6,000 communities remain unamalgamated, they are not amalgamated. Do you believe they should get enlarged? How should they make them more capable? You know that there is money under your feet. You should just get it and work. Yeah, there are some issues we should work on more, but many communities do not understand that everything was provided. You should just get it and work. And they just want to be provided with finances from the state. Now you should earn yourself. You should not wait for the state to provide you with help. And you said that the state provided everything. What the instruments were provided by the state? First, this is the freedom that you can deal with your issues yourself. We were connected. We were waiting for to be allowed to do something. Now the state provided us with everything. You should just be able to use it properly, and you should not be afraid. Often on the internet, I see some messages of different character, and sometimes law enforcers have some questions, to some officials, and maybe this is not our issue, but the state should create some clear mechanism to supervise the bodies of local government in order to prevent some violations. Not to make an offender out of the head of the community. There should be preventive measures. If you violate some articles of constitution, you will be punishment. You know that people should be conscious. At this stage, in our country, there are no proper mechanism of work between the heads and councils and the state. At the moment, we are dependent on the situation. Rules change. No, they do not change, but we are blamed for everything as the heads of the communities. Before, you could say that we felt before we felt confident, and now we do not feel confident because we see that people may come to us and they can have some complaints, and there should be fair. There should be fair rules of the game. If there is supervision, you should do it fairly. There should be justice. Not just to catch the head of the council on something, and now so now we face the situation that in any situation the head of the community will be guilty. What should the state do? The state should provide fair rules of the game between the state and the self-governance. In 2020, there will be local elections. In your opinion, before this, what instruments are needed for the self-governance that should be provided from the state? For example, land is provided, and the first reading they approved the law to carry out complex planning for these territories, and this is really important in order that the community develop. What else is needed? I believe that the main is freedom and clear rules. We should regulate everything properly and work for the benefit of the people. But some heads say that they want to administer taxes themselves in their territory. Is it needed? No one wants to take it. There are some such cases, right? Yes, there are such cases. So we opened the healthcare center, education center, and social protection is provided. We cannot get all the responsibilities. For example, social security. The head of the community cannot deal with everything. There should be municipal groups, for example, social protection, and otherwise we should take the functions of the region. We should have some municipal and 3 or 4 communities. So the state provided municipal cooperation mechanism, and you said that the future is connected with this. And we will, together with Shevchenkovska and Krestianska Gramada, we will deal with these issues. There are a lot of questions. This is only a beginning. This is not an end. And 2020 is not the end. Tell me, please, we were speaking about education. Now I would like to speak with you about healthcare. Has something changed? Did the quality change? Are people satisfied? This is a painful issue for me. You're not ready to answer. We have proper conditions for people, but people who work in the system, they didn't understand properly what they should do. They understood that now they are some of them believe that people are for them, not they are for the people. And healthcare should be based, as our top officials in the medical sector said, that money should follow the patient. And I was pleased to see when the doctor knew what is going on in the village, and now these rules, they alienate the doctor from people. And according to the law, they, for example, should not do this, but person is not in good health and needs this assistance. So you as local power may do it, may help. In several years, everything will fall in its places. And what about the dialogue with the community, with population? Do you communicate? Do you meet people? Do you hear them? Do they provide some advice or ideas to you? Unfortunately, I do not have enough time to speak with people, but of course we have communication with people. They provide advice. Yesterday, one woman advised me about some things, and they are interested in changes. And I often is very busy and I cannot see some details, and people from outside, they come and say, you may do this and that and you will have good results. Most people are satisfied or not. I believe that the majority is satisfied. Of course, there are people who are dissatisfied. They will always be. And what is your dream? How do you see your community in 5 or 10 years? What do you want to implement in your community in order that Halytsynivska be heard around the globe? Did you have such dreams? Of course, we have dreams, and they will always be, but the main is that our children, our people, they should be healthy. Quality of healthcare should be higher. People should earn more. They should be able to travel the world that they are 90. People should be healthy and happy in the community, and we should do everything for this. Ivan, I thank you very much for being with us today. I remind to you that this was Ivan Nazar, head of Halytsynivska amalgamated territorial community from Mykolaiv Oblast. Thank you.
Але треба було з вас по слову витягувати. Я думаю, що ви дуже багато не сказали.
Ой, матеріалу куча. Просто треба якісь зробити. Ну, ви знаєте, тут, як я казав, думки опережають.
Хочете швидко все сказати, а потім є таке.
Є таке.
В мене таке є. Я часто там вибудую щось собі в голові, а потім воно десь бігом дівається, тікає. Але я заходила на ваш сайт, у вас новий сучасний гарний сайт. Це дуже добре, тому що от перше, це найперше враження про громаду, я хочу сказати. Тому що можна не бути десь там на тій території, але ти щось хочеш дізнатися про громаду, заходиш на сайт і вже багато чого розумієш.
Саме головне, що молодь до цього підключається. Мене, я розказав, що не записується.
Ні-ні.
Мене із чотирьох заступників, мене 4 молодих. Десь страшно.